It was a bright sunny morning on Mossy Bottom Farm. Shaun the sheep stood proudly in the field with his friends and neighbors gathered all around. "Hello, my fellow sheep," he began. "Today is a momentous day for us here on Mossy Bottom Farm. For today, we are holding our very own Championsheeps games." The flock cheered loudly, "Ba, ba, ba." Their excitement filled the air like the smell of freshly cut grass. Standing proudly to one side was Bitzer the sheepdog, his trusty whistle around his neck, ready to do his duty as referee. "Right then, sheep," he said, clearing his throat. "First event, the sheep sprint. A race for the fastest sheep on the farm. Are there any volunteers?" Timmy the lamb eagerly trotted forward. "I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it," he cried. But looking at the other competitors lined up beside him, his little legs began to wobble with worry. At the sound of the whistle, they all shot forward, racing across the field toward the finish line. Everyone, that is, but Timmy. He got stuck in the tall grass. With a final burst of speed, he managed to free himself and stumble over the line. But the others had long since disappeared from view. Shirley had rolled instead of running and knocked his sheep clean off the track. Meanwhile, Shaun had zipped past them all, heading straight for the finish line. Just as he neared the end, disaster struck. His foot hit a tuft of grass and he tripped. He flailed wildly in the air before landing with a soft thud in a nearby hay bale. The crowd went wild with laughter. Even Timmy giggled at the sight of Shaun emerging sheepishly from the hay. That is some sheep sprint," gasped Bitzer, struggling to keep a straight face. The next event was the hammer throw. The sheep had found a large metal wrench in the barn, which they were using as a hammer. This time, Shaun decided to show off. He spun around in circles before letting out a loud, "Here we go," and launched the wrench into the air. It flew through the air in a perfect arc and landed right on top of Bitzer's head. He had been taking a well-earned break and sipping on a cool glass of lemonade, an event that was rudely cut short when the drink splashed everywhere. The sheep roared with laughter, but Bitzer just shook his head, dripping wet. Next was the high jump. The sheep set up a bar between two haystacks. Then one by one, they took their turn to leap over it. Most of them ended up crashing into the straw, creating small fluffy explosions as they disappeared into the hay. When it was his turn, Shaun prepared himself carefully, took a running start, and sailed through the air. He cleared the bar perfectly and landed safely on the other side. "Well done, Shaun," cheered the flock. But Shirley, eager to have a go, charged toward the haystacks without slowing down and smashed straight through both of them. The poor judges sitting at the top were completely buried in straw. But they took it in good spirits and climbed out coughing. That was quite the jump," stammered one of the judges, his voice muffled by hay. The final event was the team tug-of-war. The sheep split into two teams, each tugging at a long rope. They pulled and strained, but it soon became clear that it was too much for the smaller sheep. One by one, they let go. Timmy suddenly let go when he spotted a butterfly fluttering nearby and ran after it, leaving his team in disarray. Shaun's team toppled backward into a nearby mud puddle, showering Bitzer once again. That's cheating," he shouted, fluttering as he shook himself, dripping wet, when all was said and done. Bitzer blew his whistle, trying to restore order and declare a winner, but the sheep were having none of it. They were far too busy laughing, bouncing in the hay and playing around to care who had won what. Looking at his friends, Shaun realized that Bitzer was right. There had been some foul play. But in the spirit of fun, he raised his hoof and said, "In the Championsheeps, everyone's a winner." The flock bleated happily in agreement. As the sun set over the farm, the sheep celebrated with a messy, muddy, but joyful picnic. They ate and drank until it was time to go home. No medals were handed out and no trophies were raised. But the Championsheeps would be remembered as the funniest games ever held on Mossy Bottom Farm.